Welcome to Coffee with the President. Coffee with the President is an audio version of the traditional letter from the ACHE chapter president. Now, here's your host, Kathy Zavaleta.
Welcome to Coffee with the President. My name is Kathy Zavaleta, and I am delighted you're here. This mini podcast is a replacement for the traditional letter from ACHE chapter presidents. This is the second of 3 pilot podcasts. So the idea for Coffee with the President, this podcast, is that this is a different kind of connection. So in that spirit, let me describe a scene from my own professional life some years ago and how ACHE played a role. So at that time, I was about to be a single parent. The prospect of job loss only made my already over-the-top anxiety about finances higher. Job hunting wasn't going very well. So I called Ray from my office. About my office. It was a sunlit office in an old nursing dorm. The dorm had apparently been last on the renovation list, and there was nothing really wrong with it. It just felt like being exiled, and no one wanted that office because it was away from all the action. The outdated 1950s office furniture might be trendy today, but at the time, it was neither comfortable nor impressive to the visitors who weren't coming. I did notice the sunlight, but it didn't feel very warm in that office. Partly from fear and partly from sheer discipline, I sat at that oversized desk in that office and made phone calls. I used a black 3-ring binder filled with hard copies of a template to record the phone calls I was making and the results of each call. It did keep me organized, but there was a more important reason for the notebook. My stressed out brain was so overwhelmed that I had to write everything down. I was also leaving the job that I loved. I was anxious and grieving. My shoulders felt as rock solid as the old desk. My black binder and my script were my best job hunting tools. I would call people I knew or knew of and say, I'm looking for a job in this field. Do you know of a job or someone who would know about an open position? It took me a couple of tries to place a call to Ray. He was a nationally known expert. I was so nervous about calling him that I would get halfway through dialing and then hang up. When he did answer the phone, I was able to spit out my script. He listened, and then to my surprise, he didn't just refer me to someone in his network or even ask for specifics about what I was looking for. He took the time to ask, how was I? And then he went on to share part of his life story. He offered me whatever help he could provide. He offered to be a reference. He gave me a handful of names and told me to tell them that Ray sent me. Then he told me something else that I've never forgotten. He said that when painful things happen to us, we have a choice about what kind of badge we want to wear. We can wear a badge that says victim, or we can claim a badge of honor. In the course of that conversation, I started to relax. I no longer felt like I was going to jump out of my skin. I felt at ease for the first time in weeks. I so needed a good lead. On a basic level, I needed to support my family. But what I really needed was to see and be seen. A few weeks later, there was another desk. An ACHE colleague had given me a tip. Now, this time I was sitting across the metal desk from the hiring manager. This time, the sunlight pouring in from the windows seemed encouraging rather than distant. I was well prepared, as confident as I could be, given how hard I was working not to seem absolutely desperate. And I didn't feel completely comfortable in the interview suit that a dear friend had loaned me. It wasn't so much that I felt nervous, I just felt awkward. My body felt stiff and my posture rigid. So I sat on the edge of the chair and leaned forward. Thinking back to that conversation with Ray, it was a turning point for me. It wasn't just about finding a job. Ray's response was so amazingly kind. He took the time to ask about me. He made sure I felt heard and seen. I decided then to consciously look for opportunities to show compassion in a business setting. I wear my badge of honor. I try to be kind to my barista too. I think it's time for coffee. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you for listening to Coffee with the President. If you're thinking about serving as a mentor or volunteer, please contact us through email at contact@achemn.org, or for more information and how to join, please check out www.achemn.org.